Picture a quiet stretch of land in the American Midwest. Endless cornfields, calm rivers, and small towns where life seems slow and peaceful. Most people think they already know everything about Indiana, but hidden beneath this calm surface is a story filled with forgotten wars, secret communities, dangerous frontiers, and people whose choices shaped the future of an entire nation. Before Indiana was a state, before its cities existed, this land belonged to powerful Native American nations. Tribes like the Miami, Shawnee, and Potawatomi lived here for generations. They built villages along rivers, hunted in thick forests, and developed complex trade networks. For them, this land wasn't just territory, it was home, culture, and identity. But in the late 1700s, everything began to change. European settlers were moving west rapidly, and the young United States wanted control of the region. The area that would become Indiana was part of the vast Northwest Territory. It was considered one of the most dangerous frontiers in early America, and this is where one of the most dramatic and lesser-known conflicts in American history unfolded. In the early 1800s, a Native American leader named Tecumseh began building a powerful alliance among different tribes. His vision was bold: unite Native nations across the Midwest to stop American expansion. Tecumseh and his brother Tenskwatawa, known as the Prophet, established a settlement called Prophetstown near present-day Lafayette, Indiana. Prophetstown quickly became a symbol of resistance. Tribes from across the region came together there. It was more than a village. It was the center of a movement. But American leaders saw it as a threat. In 1811, a confrontation exploded into what is now known as the Battle of Tippecanoe. William Henry Harrison, who was then governor of the Indiana Territory, led about 1,000 American soldiers toward Prophetstown. The battle happened in the early morning before sunrise. Native warriors attacked the American camp, hoping to surprise them. The fighting was intense and chaotic in the darkness. When the sun rose, the battle ended with Prophetstown destroyed. The village was burned to the ground. Although Tecumseh himself wasn't present during the battle, the destruction of Prophetstown weakened the alliance he had built. But the story didn't end there. Tecumseh would later join forces with the British during the War of 1812, continuing the fight against American expansion. His dream of a united Native resistance remains one of the most powerful and tragic chapters in American history. Just 5 years later, in 1816, Indiana officially became the 19th state of the United States. But the early years of the state held another surprising truth that many people today don't know. Even though Indiana entered the Union as a free state, slavery still quietly existed here. Some settlers from the South brought enslaved people with them despite laws against it. There were also complicated systems called indentured servitude, where black residents were forced into long labor contracts that looked very similar to slavery. Indiana's history wasn't as simple as many school books suggest. Yet during the 1800s, the state also became a critical part of one of the most courageous networks in American history, the Underground Railroad. Because Indiana bordered slave states like Kentucky, it became a gateway for enslaved people escaping north toward freedom. Many families risked everything to help them. One remarkable true story comes from a man named Levi Coffin. He lived in the town of Newport, which is now called Fountain City. His house became one of the most famous Underground Railroad stations in the country. Levi Coffin and his wife Catherine secretly sheltered hundreds, possibly thousands, of escaping slaves in hidden rooms inside their home. At night, they guided people from one safe location to another, always staying ahead of slave catchers. Imagine the fear in those moments. A knock on the door late at night. A family hiding in silence. The risk of arrest or violence if anyone discovered what they were doing. But they kept helping anyway. Historians later estimated that Levi Coffin alone helped more than 3,000 enslaved people escape to freedom. Today, he is often called the president of the Underground Railroad. Indiana wasn't just a quiet farmland state. It was part of a dangerous fight for human freedom. History is rarely simple. Indiana's past shows moments of courage and moments of darkness. And yet, the state kept transforming. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, Indiana became an important industrial powerhouse. Cities like Gary and Indianapolis grew rapidly as factories, railroads, and steel mills expanded. Gary, for example, was founded in 1906 by the U.S. Steel Corporation and quickly became one of the most important steel-producing cities in the world. Thousands of workers from across America and Europe moved there looking for opportunity. The city grew almost overnight, but Gary also became famous for another reason. In 1958, a boy named Michael Jackson was born there. Growing up in a small house with his large family, he would eventually become one of the most famous musicians in history. It's strange to think that the quiet industrial city of Gary helped shape global pop culture. Indiana's influence also reached the skies. In 1930, a young boy from Indiana named Neil Armstrong developed a fascination with flight. Years later, he would become the first human to walk on the moon during the Apollo 11 mission. Armstrong grew up in the Midwest, surrounded by open landscapes, but his curiosity pushed him far beyond Earth itself. From Native American resistance to secret freedom networks, from industrial revolutions to space exploration, Indiana has played a role in moments that shaped not only America, but the world. And yet many people still see it as just another quiet state in the middle of the country. But if you look closer, Indiana tells a deeper story. A land where powerful alliances were built, where brave families risked their lives for freedom, and where ordinary people sometimes change the course of history. The next time someone drives through Indiana and sees only fields and highways, they might not realize what happened there. But beneath those peaceful landscapes are echoes of battles, whispers of secret journeys to freedom, and stories of people who refused to accept the world as it was. And those stories are still waiting to be remembered.